Okay, we have another video about food stamps and government benefits being cut off and the utilization of those benefits.
Complain about your food stamps getting cut off and how you're going to feed your babies and stuff, then why would you leave behind an entire pantry full of non perishable foods?
Hmm.
Why? That don't make any sense. Like, you say the reason why you can't pay the little bit of rent that you owe, the little bit of rent that the government wasn't paying because Section 8 covered most of it. And you can't pay this last little bit of rent that you owe because, well, I have to use my own money to buy food now and I got to feed my kids and I don't know how I'm going to feed them. So I can't pay my rent, even though the government's paying the majority of it. But you're going to move out,
Hmm.
completely move out. You're going, you ain't coming back. Keys turned in, but you leave a pantry full of food?
Oh, I
Seriously?
can I can answer why that could be done. They can leave a pantry full of non-perishable food because it didn't cost them anything. And when it doesn't cost someone something, the appreciation level is not there. When you don't have to work for something and it's just given to you, or you get an abundance of something, your value sometimes to that is just like, don't care if I have it, don't care if I don't, because it's more where that came from. Because another person that was truly struggling for food and dealt with food insecurity, and they're worried about how they're going to provide for their family, they're not going to leave non-perishable food. They're going to take that as a backup, as an emergency, especially with the weather, with the government shutdowns, with the benefits being in danger. They would take the food. But it seems like the person she's talking about is got their lifestyle covered. Like she said, they barely paid any rent because the government was paying that, and the government was buying their food. So what do you really have to be appreciative for? Your lifestyle is totally financed by somebody else other than yourself. There's no sweat on your brow. So you could abandon food to somebody else to take it, and you cannot pay a little bit of rent because what the heck? It's a free ride. And anything that's free that you could just get on and get off and get on and get off, it doesn't have value.
I tell you what, I'm sitting here working my butt off, trying to provide for three little girls myself. I
Mm.
don't get Section 8 and food stamps and WIC or any kind of government assistance. I'm doing it myself.
Hmm.
Shoot, I'll take that food. I'll take
She kind of reminds me of the other lady in the video who said she was doing it by herself, but in that scenario, the lady was actually getting over $4,000 in food stamps. Now, this is a perfect example of an adult that is putting in her work, is putting in her time, is sacrificing to take care of her family by her own efforts, not a handout. So she has the right to say she's doing it herself. The other lady who was getting the 4K in food stamps said she was doing it herself. But no, it's actually the taxpayers were taking care of her kids for her. With her 6 kids with the 4 baby daddies.
every daggone one of them canned goods and grits and pasta and all that food that you left in there because I actually don't know how I'm going to feed my babies. So I'm not leaving any food behind. And before anybody starts with them, maybe she didn't have enough room for it. She sure as heck had enough room for all her fancy purse collection, for
Wow.
all her wall decorations, for all the video games and toys and everything else in the
So the lady had space for all of the luxury items, essentially. The luxury items of value to be packed up and moved with them. And then the items that you're leeching off of the taxpayers for, it was like, there's more where that came from. How do you even have luxury bags and game systems and all this stuff, but you need assistance to feed your family? This is another example of people being entitled to benefits that they probably really shouldn't be entitled to, and they should have to work to get those benefits. But let's go ahead and check out the next person and see what they're talking about.
Because of children on food stamps or the elderly on food stamps or disabled people using food stamps. People are mad because there are over 40 million people using SNAP benefits. And if you think that all of those 40 plus million people should be on food stamps, then you are beyond naive. The fact of the matter is there is a massive amount of people who actively decide to make food stamps a permanent part of their budget, even though they are completely able-bodied and completely able to work a full-time job. We're frustrated.
I agree. The millions, over 40 million people on food stamps, over 42% being people of the age of 18 to 65, and you're trying to say, or these people are trying to say that they all have good reason to be on it. I mean, why not just let the whole country be on it? Because if it's a financial thing, working people are buying food out of their pockets, being taxed, being everything. So I mean, and don't say, well, some people do work. You're not working enough, because if you're still qualifying, you're still staying under a certain level under the budget between the ages of 18 and 59, where you're still qualifying and receiving these benefits. Or you're working, but then you're having a ton of kids to where it keeps you able to qualify based on the family size. So, yeah, sure, some of you all are working, you know, whatever, 10 hours a week or whatever you were doing, just enough to get an income tax refund and earn income tax credit, but you're not grinding and trying to level up because you're still able to qualify for the benefits. And if you're continuing to push out more kids just to get more food stamps so that you keep qualifying, clearly you're not operating with a good solid plan for life, because this administration is shaking all that stuff up now.
Because we see people who are free riding off of our hard work. Yeah, I don't feel bad for able-bodied people who actively decided to take advantage of their neighbors by making their neighbors pay for their groceries, even though they should be paying for their groceries. I don't feel like a bad person for thinking that those people are wrong. It's not selfish of me to want to keep more of my own money. It's selfish of those people to expect others to pay for them when they are perfectly able to support themselves. They simply choose not to. The reason why people are mad
I
about
didn't
food
detect any
stamps is not
lies.
because
I didn't detect any lies. People feel like they shouldn't have to go to work. Yeah, I get it. The economy's challenging. I get it that some jobs don't pay a lot of money. A lot of jobs don't pay a lot of money, but then that means your family planning needs to be done better. And if you're not capable of planning your family to where you're not putting yourself deeper and deeper into poverty, then maybe you shouldn't have the right to reproduce anything, because it's not someone else's fault that you keep making poor decisions which keep you in a situation longer. Oh, well, I can't work this shift because my kids are at school at this time, and I can't go to school because my other kid is at this time. You're putting yourself in these situations. Nobody's forcing you to replicate and replicate and replicate and replicate. And I think if a lot of these government incentives were totally taken away, we would see, I know the birth rate they say have been dropping, and I'll do another video covering that about the birth rate um, going down, largely amongst teenage young women or young teenagers or whatever, which is a great thing. But I think it would go down even further if people just knew that, hey, they're going to be held accountable for what they're doing. You can't get an increase every time you have another. And, and guess what? You can only be on benefits for, I don't know, a year. And after that, if pregnant again in that year's time or that following year, you got to figure it out. Because when you think about it, in the wild, when these lionesses and all these other different mammals and life forms have children, cubs, and all that stuff, they don't get anything handed to them. They gotta go hunt harder. They gotta go chase prey harder. They gotta fight longer. They gotta put more risks out there to get more reward. So we shouldn't be coddling able-bodied adults that are making choices and then thinking that it's somebody else's responsibility, like perfectly like he said, their neighbor, right? Their friendly neighbor to pay for their choices. Being a parent is a 24/7 job. 24/7. It's more to parenting than rolling around in the bed or on the floor or wherever y'all reproducing, and then going into the local welfare office saying, I need help. The help you need is a coupon for some rubbers, but that's free. Really, you could just get them from the local health department. The help you need is probably in your head and in your ethics and in your morals so that you don't behave in this way. But let me know what you think. Do you think the people are just mad about people taking advantage of the system, or are people mad because they're not getting the freebies as well? Put it in the comments. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe for more of our videos. Thank you and take care.